Hello Year 3, Mrs Norris here on Tuesday the 5th of May and bringing you your English lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's learning and looking forward to seeing what sort of poetry you come up with by the end of the week. Okay, so our spag starter today. Focus continues to be on verbs, and again I have put the link here for you to be able to type that in. Obviously you can't click on it, so type that in and it'll take you straight to the website, or find it on my document that says links page. So today's two activities are listening to this video clip. You can do a little bit of reminder and recap. And then the second activity, just double checking, is your verbs quiz here that you can have a go up to. Now, the reason why I'm asking you to look at verbs this week is because our poetry is going to include this in some way, shape or form. So this is going to help you embed some of your learning throughout the week, so it all links and connects together. Okay, so those two activities first. Pause the video and complete that for me. Whiteboard pen or piece of paper you will need when you press play again. Okay, so we said we were going to write a poem. So this is a list poem, or sometimes we call it free verse poem, or because there isn't as much structure to this type of poetry, so it makes it a little bit easier to write, and therefore I felt that this would be something that would be achievable as we're working at a distance and I can't give you feedback. So our writing journey today, we've looked and explored as a reader yesterday. Today we're exploring as a writer, but I've also linked it into one of our writing skills to help develop our own bank of words that will support or hopefully support your own poetry writing and planning. So I can explore a list poem as a writer. So we're going to explore it in two different ways. We look at the structure and then we look at the language. Now on Google Drive I have saved for you the three poems that we have been looking at. They're all different versions of wishes, so you can either print one of those off if you are able to, or follow along on the slides here and you can make lists down on your piece of paper, and that's absolutely fine too. So what do we need? Have a little look at the poems. Okay, what is the structure of the poem? How is it laid out? What grammar, what punctuation? Have to think about those things. Language-wise, are there any particular choice words? Thinking about nouns, adjectives, verbs, any sort of description here. What do you see? What are you reading? So pause here, and on a piece of paper I'd like you to make a note like we would in class. If you've printed the poems out, you can, around the edge of the poem, draw a line with a ruler and identify key features around the edge, creating a little bit of a map of what you have spotted. Okay, so pause here whilst you have a go at that. Okay, so these are the main things that we would talk about in class with you about this particular type of poetry. The structure, we have got the title here. We've got repetition of key words. Did you spot? We've got I wish I at the start of each one of the sentences. Sometimes it's I wish I were, sometimes it's I wish I could. So there's two other key words there that I mentioned, and there's new as well, frequently throughout the poem, but the main key phrase that's repeated, key words, is I wish I. Did you spot the grammar? Punctuation here. So we've got comma and a full stop. However, Have you noticed that it isn't all on one line? And normally we would see the poem as, see a sentence continuing until you get to the end of the line. But with this type of poetry, it's free, so quite often it's used to create effect. So I wish I were a river. Use of the commas helping you pause, create an image in your head, which is one of the things down here. Look, I've identified as language. We're trying to create an image, which is creating a picture in your mind about what the writer is trying to communicate to you. And a full stop at the end. Okay, so it's over 2 lines, this poem, and that repeats the pattern throughout the whole poem. Now, I have noticed on a couple of the other ones that the younger children have written, it doesn't do that, but I think it's purely from how they have typed it up. We will use this process. So we've talked about imagery, words that relate to the 5 senses. Now, there isn't as many on this particular poem here, but on the boys' poems that you will read, there's lots of words that indicate use of the 5 senses themselves, so what they see, hear, taste and touch. And that really helps you make a connection with the author themselves about what it is they are trying to communicate. Also, lots of describing actions, so some verbs within the text itself. Okay, moving on. There we go. So I've just highlighted a few examples here of the things. So some verbs here, some imagery in green, the pink, your punctuation, and the I wish I as the repeated key words and phrases. Okay, so I would like you to have a go at these 2 now. So I've put a list here. Can you identify some of those key features within the text? Pause here and have a go. And you highlight, now I've done in the other, on the other page. Let's do dual. I've used a colour to represent things, and I could have put the colour next to it here. So I'd put yellow next to the repetition of keywords and phrases. I would put pink here next to full stop and commas. So if you want to, make a key here of colours and then highlight the text, unpick it, see what you can find. So pause here whilst you do that activity. I nearly showed you the answers then, so let's go back to single page display. There we are. So pause here whilst you have a go at that. Okay, there we are. Just a few examples highlighted for you, so you can see, have you picked up similar things? Have you spotted different things? I haven't highlighted every single word or phrase on there, just dotted around some examples for you, as we would do in class. Okay, so there are the poems. Okay, so exploring this poem as a writer. Verbs. In particular, we'll talk about verbs and what you understand by what a verb is. Sometimes they can be hard to spot, and you have to read around the sentence as well to help you. Some are more obvious ones. So a verb, should be really good at this, having had a go at the activities at the start of today's lesson and yesterday's session as well, are an action, so it's doing something. They are a state, which is a feeling, or an occurrence, something that is happening. So the page before here, I've put a blank one, so you can leave this screen on and pause it in a moment when I finish giving you instructions, and you'll be able to see all the poems on the screen if you haven't got them already printed out. See if you can find as many verbs as you possibly can. Maybe give yourselves 2 minutes on the clock. What can you find? Off you go. Pause the video. Okay, so I blocked it out, but underneath there is just a list of the verbs themselves. Some examples for you. And on the next page, I've got a bank here as well that you can go to and refer to and check. But before you have a look at that bank of words, I would like you now to come up with any other words that you know are verbs. Make a list. It's going to help you with your learning tomorrow, so make sure you list as many as you possibly can. Take a little bit longer to do this part. Give yourself about 5 minutes or so and think about which ones might be relevant to your wishes as a starter for our work tomorrow. Okay, I will upload this list of verbs here onto Google Drive. I'll put it into today's and tomorrow's learning, possibly Thursdays and Fridays as well, if it will be useful. So thinking about tomorrow's lesson, using imagery, thinking about the senses. So what can here we are, there's a list here. What can you see, hear, smell, taste, touch? What would you wish? Oh, I wish I could see a real life rainbow unicorn. I wish I could taste a delicious chocolate gâteau. I wish I could hear beautiful music playing on a tuned piano, because my piano is not tuned and I cannot rescue it, so I'd love to hear a tuned piano again. Just some ideas to get you thinking, ready for tomorrow. Now, also, if you have, and you could make it out of a plastic bottle, you could make it out of a jar, I will leave it up to you. Be creative. What can you find in your house? But it would be really good if it is transparent and see-through. Can you find, or if you use something this week, keep it. Check your recycling if it hasn't been taken yet. Ours hasn't been collected, so we will have something in our recycling box. A jar, a bottle, a container of some sort. It's transparent, as I thought a really good activity to do would be to decorate your own wishes and dreams jar, and you could then put your writing in at the end of the week. So that's just an additional activity that you could do to present your poetry. Okay, thank you for working really hard today. I look forward to you all joining me in tomorrow's lesson. Bye bye.